Okay, looks like I'm live. The screen keeps popping around, so I can't really see if I'm live or not. So sorry. You're sitting there watching me just sit here waiting for my screen to pop up. Hi, everyone. I'm back again. As I said I would be today, I wanted to share with you some extra information on going virtual. Today, I specifically want to talk about what it actually means to manage a team in this virtual environment and some really important things to consider, not just generally in a virtual team environment, but in this specific situation, because we are in, as we know, an unprecedented situation. People are not feeling the way they normally do. And so we really need to be conscious of that during this time, especially because we're now distributed, we're not together, we don't get to see each other as much, and that means that we can miss things about how people are actually feeling. So we want to put some things in place to make sure that we're on top of how our team is feeling, we're looking after them, and that we're keeping very constant contact with everyone, just from a well-being perspective, let alone from a business management perspective. So a couple of things to consider. The first thing I want us to consider, and this is, a hygiene item, but very important because everyone's now working in an environment that they're not used to working in for long periods of time. Maybe they do work at home already for short periods, check their emails, do the odd document or something. But now we're going to be working at home for longer periods of time. So OH&S is something to be very conscious of. I know that everyone's been told to work from home, so I'm not quite sure how the workers' comp insurance industry is handling this, but that is something that we'll all need to get on top of at some point in time. But as an interim, well, not as an interim, what we need to do alongside with making sure that our insurance covers us for everything we need to, and our staff for everything that we need to, is that we're helping our team members create an environment which is good for them to work in for long periods of time from an OH&S perspective. So is their environment safe? Are they in the right chair position? Have they got their computer set up and their mouse and their keyboard and their screen set up so that when they're working for a long period of time, they're not going to create back issues, neck issues, shoulder issues, whatever it happens to be? Have they got a decent chair? Have they even got a desk? Is their screen at the right height? So one way you can assist with that is by sharing. There are actually quite a few videos you will find on YouTube and Vimeo, which will help your employees learn how to set up their work environment at home. So do a bit of a search on YouTube and Google video, Vimeo, whatever it is, and find some videos that you can then share with your team members about how to set up a good working environment so that their body keeps safe in this situation. Obviously, then also provide some information to them on making sure that that they have regular breaks, that they are stretching. These sorts of videos are also available, but remind them that they should get up and walk around, that they should stay safe at any one time anyway in their home, but please make sure that they also, take safety precautions while they're in their home during the day as well. So when they're cooking and walking around the home or leaving the home for any reason that they need to. So their safety is obviously paramount. And this comes down to more than just being safe from the virus that we're all trying to avoid at the moment. So that's very important because that also helps with the sustainability of your workforce. You don't want them to all of a sudden go out with other issues which aren't the issues that we're trying to avoid as it is. Now, make sure that you also implement regular check-ins with your team, whether you set aside 15 minutes that everyone dials into a phone call, whether you're in the office or at home, everyone needs to dial in. Also, make sure that you try and keep a culture of it's business as usual, guys. We're all in different environments now, but it's business as usual. If you had meetings booked, the meetings still go ahead. We're just going to do them on the phone or on Zoom or on a conference call, whatever it happens to be. It's business as usual. And so the more that you can create that environment and that culture, then the better and more comfortable your team members are going to be. So try and keep things plodding along, business as usual. Try not to defer meetings because people are dispersed now. Try and keep them going. You want your business to continue. So I've heard situations where organizations have said, tomorrow, I want you to work from home. And then everyone's decided to cancel meetings. Well, you know what? Working from home means working from home. So meetings should still go ahead. The other thing is it's the questions that we start asking each other as well when we are speaking to each other. Make sure that you do speak to everyone every day. So if you manage people, make sure you are touching base and speaking to them, ideally verbally. Especially the reason why I'm saying verbally is because normally you could probably get away with a message, like a little text message or a WhatsApp, and then just have your check-ins as a team. But the reason why I want you to try and check in as regularly as possible verbally is because, and one-on-one, is because I want you to ask people how they're going. Mental health is going to become our next crisis after this for a lot of reasons. Everyone is uncomfortable. Everyone is afraid. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their businesses, their livelihoods. They're worried about how they're going to pay the rent, how they're going to pay the mortgage, how they're going to pay for food. This is really frightening for people. People are afraid of not just the virus, but they're afraid, if they're not afraid now, they're going to be afraid really soon of how they're actually going to survive. And I want us to be spreading a message of we're all here to support each other. Even if in the end we lose our jobs, we're going to help each other. We're going to come together. We're going to find ways to get through this. So please don't feel like this is the end of the world, because my biggest fear is that the suicide rate is going to spike because people are going to feel completely overwhelmed and helpless. So the more we can do to help boost mental health within the people we know in our organizations, the better we're going to be in the long run. So ask people how they're going. Ask them what they need. Ask what support they need. Ask them, do they have people around them that they can see are suffering? Because if we see that around us, if we're watching the news all the time, I mean, watching the news at the moment is really bad for our mental health. So try and get people to only watch it in small batches. Don't sit there. So if they're at home, they're also more likely to be able to be scrolling Facebook and news feeds and just seeing the impending doom constantly in their face. Try and encourage them to switch those things off and look at them maybe at the start of the day or the end of the day, but not through the whole day, because it will just suck the life out of them. So mental health is really front of mind for leaders and managers right now. So what I want you to do is bring everyone together and also ask these questions. Ask each other, how are you handling your fear? How are you handling distractions at home? How are you handling being at home on your own? Share tips, talk about it, share stories with each other. Don't make it something that we don't talk about. We need to be talking about these things. So make sure the questions and the nature of the discussions we have with our people are really helping boost positive thinking and motivation just in general, let alone our motivation to work. Obviously, the more you do that, then your people will become productive and they will also do a better job. And this is a really great way to also start finding ways that people do things differently and find better ways to work. So I want you to get everyone to also be thinking about, guys, what's really working for you? How should we be implementing this long-term in our business? How are we being more productive? Really try and make this something fun and exciting, a time that we can actually learn and grow and become a better company and better people and better employees and managers and leaders. So make sure we're asking these kinds of questions and bringing these to the forefront. So the other thing then is, I mentioned this yesterday also in my video on virtual workforces and working virtually, but we need to be able to share information in a better way as well. So videos are great. If you watch my video from yesterday, I will talk about a tool called Screencast or Camtasia, where you record what you're doing on a screen and your voice. So you can provide instructions to people and then load them up, and then they're available whenever they want to watch them, or something you can keep forever. So also start thinking about, if you're going to have to start creating these little videos and these different types of pieces of information that you can share in a remote way, how are you starting to build up a library of knowledge for your organization? And where are you storing that? So make sure you're storing that in a central location for longevity. It's going to help make you a more sustainable business, a more longer standing business, that you're capturing this IP and this know-how of how your business works. So make sure you're storing that and keeping that somewhere as well. Because I want us to be thinking about the immediate crisis, of course, but I want us to also be seeing this as an exciting opportunity of how we're going to do things differently in the future. So, keep everything, every decision you make, I want it to be strategic. I've heard some hideous examples of what people are implementing in their organizations, which is alienating people, it is making people feel terrible, and there is no logic behind the decisions. I've heard of an organization that has separated the executive team from the rest of the organization by floor, and they are not allowed to go between floors. In fact, it's not even not allowed to go between floors. The executive team is still visiting the team members, but the team members are not allowed to visit the executive team. One, that's not actually helpful, because that's still there's no barrier between the people. They can still pass the virus between the teams. And also, it's not quite the smartest thing to do. They've put the whole executive team on one floor. So the best thing would be to separate the team into 2 or 3 groups and put them in different locations and keep them kind of quarantined for periods of time, so that you don't take out the whole executive team in one go if somebody gets the virus. So we want to be really strategic and logical about our decisions about how we're separating people in teams, split them up so that if someone does get the virus, we're not taking out entire teams or entire executive and management teams in one go. Just use a little bit of rational thought and logic when you're putting these rules in place, and make sure they're not making team members feel alienated. It created this hierarchy. This decision created this hierarchy of the executive team are important and you guys aren't important. But we can come see you and pass the virus to you if we happen to have it, but you can't bring it up to us. It was very strange. It's created a very strange dynamic, and you have to be very careful of doing things like this in your organization. Everyone's on edge. Everyone is full of fear right now. So we need to do things that help us feel supported, feel loved, feel safe. Everyone just wants to feel safe right now. And if you're out there and you have a whole lot of toilet paper sitting on your shelves, share the toilet paper. But yeah, so if anyone has any questions, if you have any tips as well, please share them in the chat, because the more that we can share with everyone, the better we're going to be in the long run, because the economic impact of what's going on right now is going to hit us for a while. So the more we can support and help each other, the better we're going to be in the long run. So please share your comments, share any tips, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would love to help you any way I can. And have a great day.